which means that everything we say
Is recorded, yes.
From this point on.
Yeah.
As a reminder.
Yes.
Very
Warren and
curious.
there's Dan.
Uh-oh. All right, here come the boss.
Perfect
Recording is in
timing.
progress.
Huh?
Okay,
Recording is in progress.
Alright.
just started,
Want to sit
okay.
here?
So, and do we have video of us?
Yeah, but you don't need to
Have
see
a-
it.
I thought we got into that.
We don't need to.
Huh?
Okay.
Everybody else can see us, we hide our selfie,
Oh, okay.
unless you wanna.
Well, I just wanted to make sure you were in the camera shot.
Oh, they can see me.
Show selfie. No, you just missed it. Go down. There you go.
See?
There, oh,
Everybody.
there,
So
okay,
yeah, we can see us, but we usually turn that off, so that way we don't have to stare at ourselves.
okay, well, I just wanted to make sure you were in the shot. All right, so we shall call to order with 3 neighborhoods represented, I think we're good to go. So shall we go around the room and quickly introduce ourselves? I'll start. Linnea Madison from Lake Park Drive.
Kathy Peterson, Lark Street.
Dana Day, Lark Street.
Dan Smith, City of Tumwater.
Dave Palmer, City of Tumwater, Water Resources Specialist.
Patrick Soderberg, City of Tumwater.
And online, we have Rusty Weaver joining us. And Tom Sparks may join us. I saw him calling me as I was trying to put some of these last minute things out for y'all.
And then we have Jerome from.
Rusty, you're muted, so we can see you talking, but we cannot hear you.
Talking with the same.
You're muted, Rusty.
Oh, he muted himself.
There, you got me now?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, okay. No, I'd be there, except I had this skin treatment yesterday. If you look at my face, you can see it, and I'm not supposed to be in any kind of sunlight, and the sun's still up. So I'm at home. Anyway,
Okay,
So
well, we're glad you're
Jody-
here.
Jody and Judy are,
And Leilani.
and Leilani are, not here, excused.
Judith is overseas and sends her regards, but is not able to connect.
And
Keep an eye out.
Leilani had,
Tom, maybe come.
yeah.
Moving on to the agenda review. You wanted to have something to about Gary's award?
Oh, yes. I was wondering the status of, Gary's award relative to the city.
We'll talk about that tonight.
And then also,
General business.
and Jim wanted to know when the money was.
Talk about that too.
Okay,
Part of the work plan. Talk about the
I did
department.
think,
Assessments.
When the assessments go well, we'll talk about that as part of the work plan. Update.
And then are we going to address the proposal from?
Yep. Sorry, I apologize. The proposal should have gone out in the packet, but you got the original RFP that you'd already seen. So you have the proposals in front of you. We'll go over those tonight as well. That's what item.
Well, because there was a mistake in this, and so we wanted them to amend
Amend
it
it,
so
gotcha.
that it wasn't submitted to you with an error.
Gotcha.
And it is amended and correct at this point?
No.
No, it has not, it
Okay.
has not been amended.
We can talk you through it so you'll know what it is. It's a fairly simple mistake on their part.
Okay, any other issues with the agenda? Okay, then the minutes from the meeting on January 31st.
I move that we approve the minutes from the January 31st meeting.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, they're approved.
No, that was a hand up over there.
Oh, from Rusty.
Are you commenting or saying yes?
Oh.
There, okay. Thank you.
Rusty's on board. Okay. public comment from Jerome.
He's
I don't have any comments. Thank you.
He's having comments.
Okay.
You just might see an article in the paper.
Okay.
And,
He represents the Jolt News.
yeah. Any member comments?
I saw a juvenile eagle today, feasting on, goose eggs,
On what?
goose eggs on Lark Island right in front. The geese were very quiet.
It was a somber day.
Yes, it was a somber day,
I
but
think
they
I
were,
saw that actually. I went to go check the gauge, 'cause I have to calibrate it to the electronic gauge, and US land on the island. That's bad news for the geese. We were out on kayaks today as well, and there was a lot of geese activity. They're pairing up, you can tell they're starting to molt and
Mhm.
get a little broody, and so it's happening.
yeah, but they were upset, but they were like, they didn't want to be next.
Yeah. And this was the island right in front of your house.
Yeah, they have their one, we named it finally, I think it was just something that moved there. We named it Goose Island because it's like a goose hotel, but this was actually on Lark Island. So we could really see them. Tears running down their face.
So is that maybe Tom in the waiting room?
Here we go.
Yeah, that'd be it.
Oh, look at Tom.
Hello.
Hi, Tom.
So,
Hey.
You're
hooray.
welcome.
All right, it finally worked. Thanks for all the help.
Yeah, took a village.
Yeah, that's right.
Is everything okay over there?
Well, it's blowing like crazy outside. It's been gusting to 50 today.
Well, if we lose you, stay safe.
Yeah. Hunker down.
Yeah, we're hunkered down.
Where is he? Where are you?
I'm in Western Massachusetts, about an hour from Albany,
Oh, okay. Okay,
right in the middle of that nor'easter that everybody's been talking about for the last couple of days.
yeah.
Well, you connected just in the middle of member comments. Do you have any comments?
No, I'm just interested in hearing how the interviews went and the contractor search is going. Thanks.
Okay, well, that's next. Any other member comments? Okay, well then moving on to the RFP submittal update.
I think Dave will pull up you're trying to pull up RFP on the screen there?
it's not an attachment. I can pull up the RF. Do you want the
The response.
response?
Yeah.
Sure. Just give me a-
We have copies for the folks here. Patrick can, talk through some of the treatment, technologies, what they're proposing to do in here. We got this out through the entire period. We only received one response from Aquatechnics, it's in front of you. I think they had also responded during the initial request for proposals when LMD was formed. They were much higher than Northwest Aquatic Ecosystems at that time. They came in pretty much right in line with, kind of what our expectations would be, with what they proposed. Just in short summary, like I said, we can kind of walk through, what their proposal is. But in short, they were responsive. They do work in the area. They are actually picking up a lot of Northwest Ecosystems projects in the area. There are not a lot of vendors. We sent this to every vendor in the state, for this. This was the only response we received. I did spend some time on the phone with Andre, who submitted the biologists that submitted this. They are somewhat local. They're down in Centralia, so not too far away. A lot of other folks are east side of the states or up in Seattle area, so they're local to the extent not as local as Aquatic Ecosystems right in our backyard, but we'll be able to be responsive. They look forward to working with us. They recognize, the many years that Northwest Aquatic Ecosystems, worked with us. on these projects. And, I would say, giving the quick perusal of services, they were responsive to our need. Like I said, I spent some time on the phone with Andre too, so he understood the services that Doug had provided and, the equipment that was used as well. And, did they have matching equipment? And it was shortly after that that they were able to submit, this on here. Anything you want to comment on, Patrick, on the treatment technologies or on the actual work plan itself?
Well, I was just gonna state that what they're proposing, at least initially, will be to continue with the, I believe they said either Diclot or Endofol, I think they said Diclot, for continued treatment for the bladder wart. So basically, in the past, you've had two significantly different types of herbicides that have been used. The Fluridone, which is a systemic, which is very, very expensive. That's the one that takes repeated applications. I believe what they did was a whole lake application. And then they were gonna follow up on it in subsequent years. Because some of the bladder wart got trapped by low water levels. It exists in some of the wetland areas so that the whole lake treatment didn't kill all the bladder wart, but now it's kind of in pockets. And so instead of doing another whole lake treatment, the past contractor was doing the contact herbicides, which was the Endofol, which is a lot less expensive, and felt like that was a good process to continue forward. So what Aquatechnics proposed to start off was to continue with that contact herbicide, which would be the lesser expensive herbicide. So kind of continuing on with what had already been done and continuing that for at least the next couple of years. They would do all of the notification that's required, the public notification, as well as the property posting as well, so.
They intend to access the lake with the airboat, similar to what Northwest Supply Fuel Systems used, or a small John boat, depending on conditions. And they expect that they would be coordinating with you. That's only access right now. They did inquire about the condition of that access, and I said, well, you can make your own assumptions based on what you need out there, but I know that Doug had made some improvements that he could get the airboat in there, but it is a constant thing that has to be updated. So, I would anticipate that there would be, so when we put this out, we wanted to make sure that any respondents were actually apples to apples, right? So that's why, you saw the chart in the initial RFP out there. That's what we wanted them to fill in so we can compare notes. I anticipate once we go to the contract phase that, it'll be more, they're gonna get out there, they'll see, okay, maybe some conditions will change. That's why we also included $5,000 per year as a management reserve. The error that Patrick was talking about previously was that they actually subtracted $5,000 as a management reserve. It's really an addition, and so, they have their costs, then we would add $5,000 to the contract for each year. That would give us some flexibility if we had to direct additional work to be able to pay that.
The continuity sure seems nice.
Yes.
That they, that they've been in close.
Yes.
$10,000.
Yeah. This ends up being $15,000.
Can we point that out? I don't know if Tom already knows, but
Yeah.
for Tom and Rusty's benefit as well, they're the mistake on the.
Tom and
spreadsheet.
Rusty, do you understand what I was describing there? So you see how they subtracted the management reserve from their total to say what their total budget would be? It's really an addition, so the prices that you see above it, $33,000 is total for a 3-year contract. $33,885.91 would be their budget. We would add $15,000 to that, making it a $48,000 and change budget for the 3-year contract. But their prices, for an annual treatment being $11,431 is in line with the quotes that Northwest Aquatic Ecosystems was providing for a similar level of treatment. They do recognize they'll be doing pre-season surveys with an aerial drone. They recognize that we are in a flight pattern of Olympia Airport, so that those kind of things have to be coordinated with them, and proper permits have to be received. So they do recognize that. And the city has actually will be requiring of them to have drone insurance. I didn't even know a thing existed when it exists, and I don't know how much it is, but we would be requiring it, from them. And according to them, $200 is what they would charge for the insurance requirements on there, so apparently drone insurance isn't that expensive, so. So that's really it, as Patrick mentioned, very similar, application process, the communication, the project reports, very similar, expectations, at least what's been described here, that we would, they would be providing for the LMP. So, I recognize that you're just getting this now, unfortunately, but, if you have any comments, please let us know. We do, in keeping with the RFP, I think we said we'd have a response to the proposers, I think by the 10th, April 10th, we would notify the firm is chosen, and so today's the 3rd, so that's a week from today. So by next Tuesday, we would notify them.
So
Okay, we did invite them for an interview tonight, but being beginning of the treatment season for them, they're usually up in Anacortes tonight.
Anacortes.
Yeah, so not likely they're gonna be able to get down here for that. We might be able to arrange an in-person meeting with you if you really want to sit down with them. We can try and get that done as soon as possible. Obviously, it'll be dependent on their schedule. And when we can, I would suggest maybe a subset of the steering committee. For that, maybe with Linnea and Tom as the chair, vice chair, or Kathy, if you're available. Whatever. I think keeping it easier to manage, might be more easier to get them in front of you if you feel that is necessary. If you're satisfied with their response, like I said, they were responsive, and I think we're satisfied as staff to move forward with negotiating a contract with them. And the faster we can negotiate a contract, the more likely we're going to see some treatment this year. We haven't gotten any confirmation that they would be able to. It'll probably take us. We don't have to go through we don't have to take this to council because of the staff's capacity to execute. So we try and get this turned around fairly quickly, but it would be at least 3 weeks, so up to a month.
I just had a question. So, they're doing this without even surveying the lake or going around it or anything?
Well, that would be one of their first proposals in here,
Okay.
to go out there and do a survey and to verify that, yeah, this is the treatment that they described in here.
Right.
We didn't have a treatment report from Doug in the season last year, so we had nothing really to say. Here are some recommendations moving forward. But we gave them they had access to the previous reports. We talked with them through what we have done out on that lake. And, I think, as Patrick was noting, it's a fairly consistent application, even for just year 1, maybe. It doesn't mean year 2 might change. If they get out there and they see conditions are different, or there might be a different species they want to target, or something along those lines, right? So there is some flexibility built into the contract, as we would build into the contract, not necessarily the proposal, to give us that flexibility if we needed it. But it's fairly consistent with the treatments that have been applied.
So it'd be a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 3.
And they did specify on here 2024, 2025, which suggests to me that they're ready
Yeah.
to get started.
Well, and also at Doug's last meeting on the Zoom, he was, mentally walking us through, what he had experienced and what he was planning to do. And I think somewhere in the RFP, it was saying that that kind of information was available to them.
Well, and that's what I tried to do in the RFP, is take what Doug had written up and try to provide that to all of the contractors so that they could see what had been done, and hopefully try to
Right.
create a
Make that-
continuum
yes.
of, let's just keep doing this until you see something that warrants a change.
And that's where that survey assessment will come in handy.
Question? Yeah, is it still gonna be access to the lake through Jody's?
Through Danis, yes.
Danis?
So that's cool. So they can get a boat on the lake. Okay.
Doug, when you went down today, I noticed you didn't drive the truck down. Was that because you just wanted to show your muscles and carry the boats down, or was there a problem?
It's a new truck.
Oh, it's
I'm not
new.
sure what we do yet.
Just make sure you didn't leave his truck in your backyard.
We're in the way.
No, I'm
Okay.
sure it would be fine, but we were just using kayaks, so it was just
Okay.
a matter of, putting the kayaks down. If I would have had the larger boat, yeah, I probably would have backed in there. a
Okay,
little bit further,
yeah.
so.
okay. Just wonder if there was something I should be worried about.
Understand. So what would be the next step?
If you're comfortable, with moving ahead, for a contract, we take a motion tonight and then, we start we give them a call that they're really selected. And we want to negotiate a contract with them. So basically, we give them a template, the city uses. We take this base proposal that they have here, turn it into a scope of work, make sure that they're comfortable with it. They might want to come out and check the site, maybe even go out on the lake, just to check preliminary conditions, see if anything modifies on that scope, at least for the first year. And then we'd execute.
I would like to make a motion that we do that. What Dan said.
What Dan said.
Yeah, I second it.
All in favor?
Do I need to be
Well,
more
I was gonna say,
specific?
Tom or Rusty, any questions on the proposal or the scope? Okay, none from Rusty?
Thumbs up from Rusty.
Looks like a-
Tom, are you still
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I do have a question. I think I missed in the early part, if you discussed what the background of this, is it Aquatech company, what their work history, in the field is. I didn't catch any of that.
Well, Tom, I'm just gonna give you a short answer. This is Patrick. I know that they've been managing a couple of Thurston County lakes for their lake management district for several years for both Long Lake and Lake Lawrence. And I was the IPM coordinator for the county for a number of years, and I never heard any complaints about them as a contractor or the work they performed or how they communicated with our LMDs.
Okay, that's great. That's important to know. Thank you.
And they're a West Coast company. I'm trying to see if they have how many numbers of offices they have, but they operate in Washington, Oregon, and California. They're headquartered in Bellingham. They have a local office, as I mentioned, is down in Centralia. They've been operating since the 80s, and Patrick, having probably the most local knowledge about their work, suggests that they do good work. And likewise, we know that they've been operating in the area. I haven't heard complaints, of their operations. They mentioned in their proposal here that they haven't had any infractions by any state or federal agency, and they have a handful of references identified in here. That would be recommending the work that they do. And I've worked with, looking at these names, a couple of these folks. So we obviously give them a call just to say, hey, how the work turned out. But I've never met a contractor that would put a reference in a proposal that would give them a negative review. So,
Yeah.
and I've had conversations and worked with Terrence McNabb. Terrence McNabb was who submitted early on for the LMD.
Okay, that answers my question. Yeah, that all sounds like good background reference material. So that answers my question. Thanks.
They have a website, Aquatechnics. I'll send you I'll text you the
Well,
link.
yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Thanks. It'll be in the meeting notes. So if you could put it in the meeting notes, that'd be great, and I'll look at those.
And I'll make sure we send a copy of this proposal. Do you guys know, are they resubmitting with the corrected table?
I've asked you to submit, yes. So.
And that correction again is just adding the 15,000, not
Yeah.
subtracting.
I did look at those numbers. They do all that for
Yeah.
only 6,000.
I know.
It all makes sense now. And I should have but it was on my phone. It was hard.
I'm not quite sure how that got construed sideways, but anyway, that
I
was
thought it
really.
was really cool that they're gonna donate $5,000.
Well,
every
yeah,
year.
it was like a discount.
That's how you get a job.
So,
Okay, well, back to the motion of moving forward. I think all in favor?
Aye. Thumbs up.
Tom
over
says
there.
aye.
Okay, opposed? Opposed. All right, we're moving forward.
so yeah, we'll reach out to Aquatechnics and start that process with a contract. If any thoughts come to anybody about additional scope items, please let me know within the next week. We'll see what we can do about adding some stuff there. You know, the management reserve again is stuff like, you know, the incidental stuff that we would ask for, you know, from Northwest, Ecopond. You know,
Oh, geez.
aquatic ecosystems, thank you.
Nobody can talk tonight.
Right. Yeah, it's been a 12-hour day, just meeting after meeting after meeting, it's been kind of nuts. Stuff like moving the mats to like a property or something like that, you know, so there might be those incidentals, that's where we would use that management reserve, you know, for that kind of work, you know, we can go an hourly rate or something like that too, so. Generally, when we have the contract, we have the scope of services, with the proposed costs, we have a management reserve, and then we'll also have, kind of like, you know, some of the hourly rates, so if they were to charge outside of, what the scope was, that would, we have for that. That's what we'll do. Like I said, that'll probably take a few weeks to get done, because once we have the contract negotiated, then we have to submit it to legal, that takes at least 2 weeks. And once we get it back from legal, like I said, we can execute this in-house, and then however long it takes them to sign on support. Of course, we let everybody know.
I would like to be included as I'm available. Like when
To
you
meet with them,
meet,
if we do decide to.
yeah, if you decide.
If you want to meet, let me know today, because I'll be calling them tomorrow to tell them this.
Yeah, I'm the optional person, that if I'm available, I would like to join you.
So are we offering them the contract, or do you want to meet with them first?
I thought we already approved that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just saying, if there is a meeting, I would like to be there.
They will be invited to a meeting.
Okay.
So, I mean, that was part of the scope where they would attend, I think, up to 6 meetings, I think we included in
Okay,
there.
yeah. So if y'all meet with them, I want to.
Yeah,
you
or
don't,
if
then
they,
I'm fine.
and they may want to meet. with
Right.
us.
Right.
We have another regular steering committee meeting on May 8th, so a month from now.
We can invite them to that as well, so they can introduce themselves.
And then another one June 12th, so there's an
Me and
opportunity a
May.
month after that.
Should we reach out to them to see if they need to start before then or anything like that?
Yeah, well, that'll all be part of that, those initial conversations. When can you get out there this year and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, right now.
Now a good time.
Did you know when Doug died last year?
Mid-June, early June,
Okay,
it started to,
get really low.
the swamp started to drain
Well, things
quickly.
start popping up.
Right.
Things haven't really started popping up yet.
It
But
was huge. A lot of the things have just been disintegrating. It's mad kind of things.
So Doug had indicated the temperature range for plant growth to begin. You know, that you were out there pulling temperature data, so you know, maybe we're in that range or getting up there.
65 degrees, I haven't converted it yet, it was 14.3 Celsius today. So whether that converts to.
Well, if it's 65 degrees, we're not there yet, so.
Yeah.
Still a little cooler than that, you know, maybe a couple days here and there, but. Hopefully the lakes pull that up, but yeah, so there's some time. And you know, in the meantime, you know, we'll talk with aquatechnics about like, please getting out there and surveying and, you know, obviously data recording with you. Kathy will let you know if they're gonna be outside.
Yeah.
We'll poke out there and say hi, but we'll get that done as soon as we can. Yeah.
Thank you for all the hard work, man.
yeah, and the quick.
And to them for replying.
Yes,
Yeah.
really.
That's
I was
really-
I was worried there wouldn't be anybody. Yes.
If you get no replies, then you're really in a
That would
problem.
be concerning. All right, well, on to lake levels and temperatures. Speaking of what's going on.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of information right now. I was out on the lake today, pulling data, and I just haven't gotten the numbers crunched yet for lake levels. Temperature today, I just did the conversion, it's 57 degrees water temperature, so it's getting there, but it's pretty warm. Yeah. 57. I have to calibrate that because the HOPO was less than that, so like I said, I gotta crunch some numbers. We will be starting annual water quality monitoring starting next month, so items that are going out for call for volunteers.
I'm sure Tim still wants to.
How's that?
And is blowing in. Little concerned.
You just put the news on in the background. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
And my Andre will probably do it again if
Cool.
he can't.
Yeah,
Potentially two Andres. Yeah.
so anyway, I don't anticipate any problems with that this season, so we might be going with a different lab, is the only update, so water management. Or we're using Eurofins was for the other, what we talked about today, so that both in Tacoma. Similar, I think Eurofins is actually pretty inexpensive, so. But it should be the same method that they're using to detect phosphorus, nitrogen. So
Starting next month.
next month, it's already May next month, you believe that?
Wow.
So here we are. That's not all I got for an update on that. Any questions?
I can just testify, the lake is full.
Full.
It was above full for a little while.
Yes, we are discharging out the overflow
Still,
today, yes.
today, okay.
So,
I wondered if it was the beavers or if it was just Mother Nature dumping more than we can
Yeah.
discharge.
the overflow is engaged, so it's working. So
Boy,
it's
the
full, it's
beavers
gonna
are
get-
working too.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the lake today, I was out with Grant, and he was taking some, doing his photography, he's an amazing photographer, with his phone, it's crazy, but we counted, I think 5 on Lark Island and Dot Island, 5 beaver lodges just right there. So, I think there's 2 more in front of the school, and then probably another 4 in front of you.
Probably a new one this year, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So, yes, very, very active.
And they're never supposed to be more than right? They're not supposed to overpopulate.
They're not supposed to.
Right, isn't that the
We can
theory?
only sustain them in the lake, only sustain so many.
But if you think about
Move.
2 per den, I mean, a minimum, it's a huge beaver population, so.
I think some of their dens are abandoned. You can tell the ones that are fresh because they've got the fresh branches, and some of them seem like maybe they've given them up to the otters or somebody else.
The geese.
Yeah.
Down to the golf course.
Those were like, really dispersed. We were
Yeah.
slides, Grant and I were talking about corridors and what are those opportunities for them to migrate.
He's been with Blue Pond.
General business?
All right, so the work plan, we'll hit that one real quick. So, with the, so you asked about the assessments, Linnea, those will go out. I think what we want to do is make sure that we had a contractor lined up, so we can make some of these announcements in that. Patrick and Dave are working on a kind of little letter to go out with it, similar to what we've done in previous years. I think last year it was mailed out, or might not have been mailed out, but we found out a constant contact last year. I don't know if it was mailed or not. But similar notification that we did last year. There's a Kathy you've written half of it. So that'll be prepared to go out with the assessments. And so hopefully, in future ensuing years too, there's always something to accompany that bill, for the residents, and they're reminding why they're paying these bills. We do get phone calls pretty much every year, like, what is this bill? And it's usually the new folks, that bought a house or moved into one of the condos and, was never like, told, they were never told of this thing, the Lake Management District from the, the sales rep that they work with, and, they get billed for, a couple $100 and what it's all about. So we point them to the website and, we provide this information, going out there. And so we'll talk about, in there, we'll probably talk about, Doug and Gary, the new vendor, out there, and provide some just general updates on what this work plan, entails. So that, I anticipate that's probably May, maybe first part of May, late April. There's no real timeline for us to get them out, as long as we get them out once a year, for folks. And so, I think May is getting a little bit late, but, is all right, given kind of the nature of where we're at with, they want to make sure that we had something to communicate to folks, that, once we anticipate for the summer. And that'll also give us time to say, okay, Aquatechnics team, can you get out there this year? What's your timeline looking like? And so that way we can kind of just put it out there, what folks can expect. But other than that, you know, I think we are moving right along. I've gone in front of our city council with the operating, this work plan and the operating budget. It's been approved by them. I did in that same meeting give a conversation around Gary's award. So I read, I think, parts of the letter, didn't read the entire letter that was there, but did certainly read the highlights of that letter. And talked about Doug as well, and the years of service that they provided for us on the lake. So that was really nice. Got some good feedback, you know, around that. And, you know, I think it was the only item on the agenda, and it took about 45 minutes almost. And I was kind of nervous. They're like, "Wait, one item on the agenda? This is on the board. You got time. I'll fill you up." So they're really supportive. Really just glad to see the community continuing to come together. You know, and really happy to see kind of the results that, you know, the lake has experienced over the years. Is that Barnes Lake? That looks like Barnes Lake.
Yeah, it took me a minute, I think.
So that's a really good picture of the lake, you know, it's on the front of their cover. So you can just remember, for the folks that remember this in 2005, what the lake looked like as compared to what it looks like today. So good stuff. And that was, those sentiments were expressed by the council as well. I'm going to go on a limb and say Dave's already reviewed the SOP for the monitoring program, and he's got no updates for you there. And like I said, he's going to be getting that going next month. We did the RFQ, that's out there, that's done. The LMD member packet that we're talking about here under item 3 in January, that's what Patrick and Dave are going to work on. That's going to go out to you know, all of the LMD members with the assessment. So just a little bit of delay on there. We're in March, April now. Any supplies that Dave's needs, starting to talk to the labs. He's working on that for the water quality monitoring program. If he's got new volunteers, you know, obviously we'll go through the training program with them. Come on.
We need to, every year we need a new training.
You gotta remind yourselves, right?
I know.
What are we
it's
doing? How do we
like,
do
what
it?
is
Well,
this? How do I do this?
We're getting a new YSI with a new probe as well, so that's gonna take a little bit of getting used to. So
Terrible.
that's pretty cool though. It's gonna be a.
But then we finally get it. to do
Safety
that.
procedures, make sure you don't fall out of the boat, you're wearing, you know, proper equipment, you know, all those. kinds of
We're
things.
good at that. We're good at that.
Good enough falling out of the boat.
Yes.
Hey there. You here for the Barnes Lake District meeting?
Huh?
You here for the Barnes Lake meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on in. So we're gonna be finishing that up with April. And then we're moving into June, and so that'll be, if we can get Aquatechnics on board, that will be what we're working on.
Doug, would you like to introduce yourself?
Number 8.
Okay,
We'll do our best to
Oh, hey,
get
I
you.
gotta do the hat on.
well, I got a haircut, so.
Yeah, there you
I've
go.
been wearing a hat because my wife had cut my hair, it was really long and shaggy, and I used to wear it all the time. Doug Gill and 1220, I probably put 1224.
26.
Okay.
I'm 1224.
That's it.
I think you're 1226.
How do you spell your last name?
Gill. I've lived on the lake since 80-something, over the 227 Lark Street, a long time ago, so. Now I bought this property, I think in 95, 96, somewhere before. But it's choice of the 3 lots there, so. You can see what it is.
Right between.
But yeah, right next to her, right next door.
And we've covered a lot so far today, so you may have to either catch up with us or.
Just came here to find out what's going on. I did, had something else going on, but I just made it clear today.
Okay.
Well, we got, Doug, you know, any questions, you can stop in and we'll chat, we'll catch up. See, so yeah, on the work, as far as the work plan goes, we're right, you know, kind of where we need to be. We're moving into June, May-June area. And that's where, if, again, we can get Aquatechnics, if they can jump in, then we'll get it moving. And then, you know, regardless, you know, the volunteer stuff will get going, the assessments will go out. And then we're just into the summer realm of things. And our next meeting is June 12th. Did you say we had a meeting scheduled for May?
I've got one down for May 8th,
Okay.
and maybe that was for contract contractor interviews or contractor meet and greets, I'm not sure.
I think as the last meeting, we were trying to work out a schedule where if we needed to do some different updates, then we had the opportunity and the flexibility. Let us get through the negotiations with them, and then kind of make it, determine if we need to have a May 8th meeting, because that would be kind of, they're under contract, okay, let's start, the process in that. Maybe we keep that on the books, we have them come in if they're available for that, and then it's that, you get to meet the vendor, kind of thing, but I'm gonna be off telling you about the proposal for the year.
Because I didn't have that one on my calendar, so we're saying we're not going to have a meeting on
I'm
May.
gonna say, let's keep it on there, we'll
Keep it on
talk with the
there.
vendor, if they can meet us,
Okay.
and that'll be an opportunity for the folks to come in and meet with the vendor at that time. Otherwise, the goal really from my perspective would be, let's get them under contract, let's get them moving on treatments, because, if they picked up Doug's Lakes, their workload is huge.
Yes.
And, it might be very difficult to, get them on the
We
lake.
want to get on their list.
Well, and I think,
Date, I'm sorry, May 8th was proposed last meeting,
Oh, okay.
so
Yeah.
it was kind of added for
Okay,
the
because of,
contractor stuff, so.
To give us some flexibility, if we
Right,
needed,
right,
if we needed opportunities to touch, with the steering committee, then that would give us that time.
well, and if I remember correctly, when Doug was at our last meeting, you guys were talking about how you meet with them independently to do work at your own
the private,
locations.
yes.
So that obviously was not in this RFP at all. So that May 8th might give you the opportunity to have that conversation with the contractor, because that's outside of the scope of the contract. Does that make sense?
In some ways it does, but historically, all the discussion about the private, treatment happened when the contractor was not really working. Because it's really labor intense, they have to talk about a lot of stuff and plan for everything and submit, requests for the work to be done. So I think.
So you're just gonna pass this year on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that wouldn't be part of our scope. Because that's
Correct.
privately
Yeah.
funded. The
Right.
reason why we route it through the city is to make sure there isn't any overlap between what the LMD is doing, and so, we just make sure that there's those,
Right, I was just saying,
Checks.
Yeah,
May
but-
8th would give you an opportunity to have the conversation
gives you available.
before he just goes out and does the work, and then you didn't,
I think you can do the private treatment under the same permit too, which is.
Right,
Yeah, and that's why we have them come in to make sure that,
yeah, people think about stuff and then they apply. It's labor intensive. So.
I'm just excited at the prospect of getting somebody on
Right.
board
Right,
and rolling
right. And
this
then later,
year and
yeah.
not missing a year of late.
Yeah, and then later in the year, we can have conversations about
Yeah.
what people want.
and at the end of the day, there are other contractors out there that do that kind of work on shoreline. I would continue to hold the line, though, if they're operating under the city's permit, they have to get approval from the city to do that work, and that's where that proposal comes.
Exactly.
Right, that keeps everything above board, and it keeps, the LMD members, out of trouble with ecology, it keeps the city out of trouble with the LMD members, all that kind of stuff, so. And then budget, well, we haven't spent any money, so there's no changes to the budget, these are real easy.
Do we have a bill from the building, a state of the?
We paid a bill, but there wasn't like things for like a report in there, which we
Right.
would have paid, so we got, we covered the treatment, for most of the season, but then the other incidentals that we usually pay at the end of the year. We're not submitted, but we also, we never submitted a report, so we're quite normal bills. I did reach out to the family, a couple of times, obviously to express condolences and, kind of, tell some stories about, who that was for us, and myself, and, I said, if there's anything more you need to talk about, like, when you close out contracts, please just get a hold of me. And reach out.
Yeah, they did, somebody from the family, reacted, on the Facebook page where we had, said how important Doug had been, and they had a favorable comment there about that, but I haven't been anywhere.
So, of course, if they reach out, we'll talk with them, but, I don't anticipate, any further contact on that, because I know nobody in the family is interested in carrying on the business.
Right.
His daughter was at one point working with him, but yeah. Like I said, Aquatechnics, I think the family did reach out to Aquatechnics in particular and said, you know, these are our customers. Because they had reached out before we even had an RFP going out, and I had said, hold on, we'll be issuing something shortly. But yeah, your budget for the year, you know, we anticipate about 20,000 in assessments coming in. And we have a beginning fund balance of 48,000, so it gives us basically an overall fund balance this year of 68,000. Fund balance. Oh, that's what the budget's out there. So basically, at the end of it, if we have funding for a $35,000 treatment year, as you see in here, and that would also include probably the floor dome. I think as previous years, that's how the budget had played itself out. We had built this out on the 10-year look ahead for this, and so $35,000, but we'll cover the services by Aquatechnics in there. So you are in good shape for all of that and future planning needs, water quality needs. Any questions on that part?
How are people doing percentage-wise in terms of paying their assessments?
Very well. I had looked at last year's spreadsheet, but I want to say there's maybe a handful of properties, three or four properties that have been paid. And the city acquired, we're able to, so folks that have liens paid as those properties sell, whether they're liens because, maybe somebody passed away and it's being managed by the state and hasn't been resolved yet. So those get resolved. The folks that haven't paid liens, eventually the house sells and we get paid. So, the process is working, and you have a healthy fund balance with that. Like I said, and because of that process, and folks that have questions and concerns, they call us up and tell them, we don't have a formal payment plan program, but if somebody, was concerned or they needed some assistance, the city works with them on an individual basis.
That's good to know.
Is appropriate.
Yeah, that's good to be able to tell people that.
Yeah, the people are.
Call the city if it's a real hardship.
Yeah, we work things out with folks. So, so that's that. We've got a healthy fund balance. Things are looking good. Okay, so and I meant to talk about Gary's award too. So, as I mentioned, we kind of did the announcement with City Council and kind of had a display and a program for that. I have the award here. I'm curious about the. I think Kathy, you had spoken with the family, and is there any interest in returning to the family, or we can put this on display in our new offices over there. So I was curious what ultimately your thoughts were as a committee to do with the award.
From just kind of casual conversations, Jeanette, I think is her name. She seemed like it was really a nice honor and, recognizing everything that Gary had done. But I didn't have the sense that they wanted to hang on to the flag. They just appreciated the recognition and the honor,
Well, like as you probably know, we are building some new offices over at South Puget Sound Community College for the Water Resources Program.
That's right.
So we'll be over there, and there's going to be a really nice conference room that we'll be building, and
On the other side of the hill.
on the other side of the hill, and I can see a nice picture of Barnes Lake, hanging on the wall at some point in the future. Especially if Grant's taking some really good pictures of the lake, put a nice picture up there, maybe a picture of Gary, a picture and hang the award.
Can you read what the award says?
So the award says it's Leadership and Service Award presented to Gary Bedoich in recognition of significant volunteer efforts from the North American Lake Management Society 2023. Do you have a copy of the letter on you? Oh, here you go. And so, we can read the letter for your folks out there. It's actually a little small writing, so maybe Dave could read it.
Yeah, the screen's being shared, so you guys should be able to see it. On behalf of the NALM, North American Lake Management Society, we would like to offer our heartfelt condolences for your loss. I'm reaching out to present Gary with the 2023 NALM's Leadership and Service Award for significant volunteer efforts. NALMS is an international society comprised of professionals, academic researchers, lake associations, and other interest groups, volunteers, and anyone interested in the protection, management, and love of lakes. We currently have about 1,000 members spanning US and Canada. Each year, as a part of our annual symposium, NALMS gives 2 Leadership and Service Awards to recognize and honor individuals or groups for successful projects, volunteer efforts, and public education and outreach. Nominations are collected throughout the year for projects throughout North America, and winners are selected by the Board of Directors in August. Gary Bedoich was selected amongst a pool of nominations for his volunteer efforts at Barnes Lake, Washington, as this year's winner. NALMS wishes to thank Gary for his dedication to aquatic plant management at Barnes Lake and his countless hours volunteering and leading Barnes Lake Management District Steering Committee meetings. He was honored for this year's award by Kathy Peterson on behalf of the Steering Committee. In reading the nomination for Gary, it was clear that he was passionate about making Barnes Lake a place for families and wildlife to enjoy for generations to come. In the words of his fellow BLMD steering committee members, Gary Bedoich has chaired our lake management group for several years. In this leadership of our group, he has been level-headed and low-key, encouraging input from all. I call him more of a facilitator than a chairman. He is knowledgeable about our lake's issues and about the concerns of lake area residents. He has been an important part of improving the health and maintenance of Barnes Lake. Gary has always been a calm presence and a voice of reason. People listen to Gary because he will know his comments are both thoughtful and helpful. He has a love of Barnes Lake that runs deep. When I suggested we put together a lighted boat parade in the lake for Christmas, Gary has been one of the most enthusiastic participants, decorating his canoe with a beautiful lighted angel. On behalf of NALMS, we wish to thank you for Gary's volunteer efforts to support the health of Barnes Lake. Sincerely, Kyoko Yokata, the NALMS president. Very cool.
It's a big deal.
Yes, I
Very-
didn't realize.
North America, so not just
Yeah.
United States. I mean, that's Canada and Mexico.
It's a big deal.
Yeah,
Big deal.
because I said, somehow I thought it was north.
Oh, no.
Like, I said, so, like in the state of Washington, you know, this was after a debate. It was bad.
She's like, no, the
No.
entire continent.
Yeah, right.
She says, this is really a big deal.
Big deal.
Oh my gosh.
Barnes Lake, this committee, so, I'll send you, every once in a while, we get the WALPA
Yes,
newsletter, which is the
Right, see,
Washington
and I,
Yes.
Lakes Protection Association. I think they are also a member of NOMS, which is we get information from them, but we're not quite a member of them yet, but, if ever there's an opportunity, they have trainings, they have conferences, workshops, different things, and that's why we pass along those, those notices. So if you're ever interested in any of that stuff, let me know. You guys can do that stuff too. So yeah, really nice. I think this would have a nice place in our offices over there. And once we're over there, I anticipate that we'll be moving these meetings over to our new spaces.
it has struck me several times to wonder if there's a way that we could recognize Doug. Just even amongst ourselves. And I can't quite figure out how to do that, but he sure dedicated a lot.
Mhm.
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
Very
we
passionate
could
about it.
have another plaque on the other side of that picture of
Yeah.
Doug.
Yeah.
The picture of Doug, maybe one of those
Names.
pictures that you had on the Facebook page.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
Yeah.
love that idea.
I said maybe name an island after him.
Yeah, nice.
I don't know.
Well, he could have that one Goose Island. Whichever
Well, it
one
needs to-
is,
Oh, the one that he anchored.
yeah, his.
The one that came from
I
in
think
front
it
of my
needs to be
house
a
and they
real
moved it, was just crazy. Wherever he attached it, that could be his island.
For the launch.
Launch, yeah. I'll put a little plaque out
Doug's
there.
Landing,
Doug's Landing.
I like that.
That's a good one, Doug's Landing.
Yeah.
Little sign right there. At the end.
Yeah.
Like a historical site.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll feature people coming, I'll charge them to see it, no.
Yeah.
We can take.
Yeah.
Doug's Landing. The boat launch is formally named Doug's Landing. Do we need a motion?
That's my property.
Well, wasn't it your idea?
We've come full circle.
Okay,
It
well,
was-
maybe it's unofficially, we'll,
It was
we'll,
Dan's idea.
we'll work with it for a while.
Yeah,
and
we'll
see.
figure out
See
something
if
to
it sticks.
recognize.
I think he'd like an island though.
I do too. So he could move around.
All right, well, anything else, Stan?
No, just next meeting, May 8th, we'll keep that on the books and we'll check in, we'll probably check in, Linnea, with you and Tom with you. You know, to kind of see where we're at, if there's, interest in, you know, sufficient business for a meeting. So, if they're available, that to me is what would create sufficient business, because you really wouldn't be anything else at that point yet, really to have, a meeting. So if we can get Northwest, Aquatechnics, they used to say another company name.
Right.
Aquatechnics, to come out on May 8th, and we'll do that, otherwise we might cancel that meeting.
All righty.
Tom, Rusty, anything from you guys?
You know, I mean, it's just an odd thought. Anybody, I haven't seen any fish in the lake.
I saw plenty
Does
going
anybody-
down the,
And a guy went out
Indeed.
fishing the other day on his canoe and he didn't see any fish. So just wondering.
River Otter's been busy.
yes.
That might be where our fish went.
Where?
And
See how big
herons.
they are. Like the picture I think was on your dog?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the guy who scared the daylights out of me a couple years ago.
So they are warm water species, and
Who's
so
otter?
their metabolism
Oh,
is
otter.
dependent on water temperature, so as the water temperature comes up, the metabolism will come up as well, and they'll start hungry a little bit more, so. Could be it, they're just hiding right now.
So Dan, you were attacked by an otter?
No, it was
Unless
back.
the otters are really efficient.
Well, they eat, I don't know, they eat a lot of fish. A
And the
lot of
cormorants are really after the baby bass. They're just like a delicacy.
Yeah, so no, what I was saying is, I was out there back before we had the nice, you know, data loggers that track the water levels. I would go out there on a regular basis and read the gauge, you know, the manual gauge we had out there. I was one morning, it'd be 7 o'clock in the morning, I was getting out there to go read the gauge, you know, before a meeting, and it was one of those beautiful mornings where you could see the mist coming up on the lake, it was so quiet and serene, and I come around the corner and this otter is just sitting there, just sunning itself like on the land,
Really?
like, yeah, and I turned the corner to go read it, he jumped up, I jumped up, you know, I probably let out a little yell or something like that.
He's still talking about
Yeah.
it. Big scary human who ruined his peaceful life.
Otter ran into the water and like, you know, he was huffing and puffing too, you know, and started swimming a little circle just off the shoreline where he felt safe, it was just like, you know, I was like, yeah, dude, he scared you out of me too, so. Yeah, it was quite an experience, I had never, seen a river otter in the wild before, and you might not have seen a human in the wild before, you know, and it was about as big as the one on your dock, and so it's like, you know, I always thought, well, otters were small.
No. Big,
3 feet standing, you know what I mean? It was like, wow.
and
Yeah.
you know, the other day I posted on the lake thing a picture of a turtle. I don't know,
Yeah.
I'd never seen a turtle in the lake. Maybe there are lots of them, I don't know. But,
Well, you saw that one that was in my backyard that I didn't know was a snapping turtle, and I was trying to feed him lettuce.
Well, we have the one that keeps trying to cross the road, and I put up a turtle crossing sign
really?
in front of my house, and people think it's a joke, but no, it's a problem. They were trying about a week ago to cross, one of them, to cross the road.
Turtle crossing.
We go
Yeah.
put them back in the lake, and then a couple hours later, they're trying to cross the road again. so.
Bumps.
Who's know what's on the other side of the road for them?
How do they survive in the winter? I mean, turtles, yeah, in the south and stuff, but.
They are native turtles. So
Oh,
they
yeah.
might be.
That one that was in my yard.
But
was
not
big.
snapping turtles.
He was big, and yes, he was.
But that may be one that was released.
Yeah, the one I saw, I mean, his shell was a foot long. The shell. So, yeah, I don't know, is that big? I don't know.
The one you have is bigger.
Yeah, it's, if you look back on our Barnes Lake, you can see the old one. I'll try to get that picture back over to you, Rusty.
All right.
Yeah, I have a picture of Andre holding the turtle with gloves on to go put it back in the lake. Yeah.
That's probably great, that's a great place for the trails.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great place for a lot of wild
Eagles.
eagles, heron, ducks, geese,
Yeah.
Well,
otters, beavers.
should we get off the record before we derail things too far? Are we,
Yeah.
are we good? Good for all of our official business, so meeting adjourned.
Okay,
My motion or
Yeah.
whatever, is that what?
I don't think we have.
Okay,
Don't
you're
we-
just, you know, gavel.
chair has the gavel for the adjournment, so.
We are adjourned. We can keep
All
talking
right.
about wildlife.
And what happened to the?
That's okay, I've had a long
The
day.
beavers?
I'm